Hey there! Welcome to APVA's member-centered event. Hang out with us today as we chat with members of the community, addressing the challenges of the typical African creative. So good evening, everybody. Welcome to the second voiceover related webinar from APVA this year, tagged Hangout with APVA. And APVA stands for the Association of African Podcasters and Voice Artists. I am a host, T-Code, a Nigerian voice actor and coach, the Nigerian creative partner for APVA, and the host of the podcast Everything Voiceovers, the African Perspective. And it's my pleasure to host this event once again. Now, for those people who will be wondering what APVA is all about, the Association of African Podcasters and Voice Artists is a community-driven organization that seeks to discover, amplify, and celebrate African voice or audio creatives. And we are dedicated to fostering the growth and development of the audio creative industry right here in Africa. So on behalf of APVA, once again, I'm saying welcome to everyone listening and to those who will be watching via YouTube or other social media platforms, because I must let you know that this will be uploaded as a podcast and also will be available on YouTube for those who aren't able to listen live so they can catch on to the conversation. I have with me today some amazing guests. We'll be talking about the topic together. I have the likes of Jamaldeen Ademola from Nigeria. I have Maoli Sache. I hope I got the pronunciation right, from Ghana. I have...
No, I'll have to stop you right there.
Okay.
It's Sachi. As in Sachi and Sachi.
Sachi. Ah,
yes, that's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Maoli. So we've got Maoli Sachi from Ghana, Chidu Onabu from Nigeria as well, and Elizabeth Keshinro, or should I say Eniola Keshinro? She corrected me earlier. And Mr. Sheon Shobo is here, the brand master, and Femi Biggs will be joining us real soon to have this interesting conversation together. I can see people joining. Energetic EJ, you're welcome. Mike, you're welcome. Your favorite voiceover Bobo, you're highly welcome. Derunke, I see you. And every other person here, I won't be able to mention everybody's name, but I see you and you're very much welcome. So today we'll be talking about the impact of technology on the voiceover industry. That's the theme for today's webinar. And before I get into that, give me about a minute or two to also properly introduce my guests. Let me start from Mr. Sheon Shobo, the brand master. Good evening, Mr. Shobo. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you, Tolu, for having me. I'm glad to be here. Yeah.
Thank you for accepting to be here. For those that don't know, Mr. Shobo is also known as the brand master. Is a creative and innovative leader with over a decade of experience in brand innovation, management, advertising, public relations, and business development. He has exceptional expertise in voiceover artistry and has founded Africa's first ever training hub for voiceover talents, the Voiceover Academy. Through the Voiceover Academy, Mr. Shobo has been able to put African voiceover talents on the world map via the Voiceover Bank, which is Africa's largest pool of professional voiceover talents in various African languages. He has also received numerous awards and accolades, including Sova's Voice Arts Global Influencer Award, which was last year, and his voiceover workbook, Vocap, is being used as a textbook in various universities worldwide. Mr. Shobo is a professional member of the World Voice Organization, WOVO, and the Voice and Speech Trainers Association, VASTA, where he sits on the board as the first African and Nigerian board director. He has also been appointed the SOVA's ambassador for Africa and sits on the advisory board of several other organizations. So this is a huge personality that we've got in our midst. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, Mr. Shobo, Sheon Shobo. Mr. Sheon Shobo, welcome once again. Okay, so
Thank you very
I see that Femi Biggs is here. Femi, welcome. You joined right on time. If you can hear me, I just want to hear your voice to be sure that you...
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
right here.
Fantastic. So before I introduce Femi Biggs, I'll go on to also introduce Jamaldeen, because Jamaldeen has been here also for quite a bit. So Jamaldeen, unmute your mic. Let's hear your voice. How are you doing today, Jamaldeen?
Lord, it's great to be here today. And hello to everybody.
It's great. It's great to hear your voice. So, for those who don't know, Jamaldeen is a voice talent, a very talented one at that, with a proven track record of success in delivering compelling voiceovers to clients worldwide, including commercials, narrations, video games, e-learning, and more. He's been recognized for his exceptional talent and creativity, having been nominated for several prestigious awards, including the best voiceover artist in Nigeria at the 2022 Iconic Awards and the best voiceover artist in Africa at the 2022 Zikomo Awards. He was also nominated for the best in narration at the 2022 APVA Awards. He is Jamaldeen Ademola. So great to have Jamaldeen here. I'll just move on to the next guest because of my time. Eniola Keshinru, aka Eni. Just say hi to me. Let me be sure that you can hear me loud and clear, and I can hear you too.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Great. So Eniola Keshinru, also known as NEK, is a multi-talented individual with a diverse range of experiences. As a voiceover artist, NEK is a versatile, bilingual performer who has earned a reputation for a trustworthy and conversational style, which continues to help brands connect effectively with their target audience. She is a 2022 nominee of the prestigious Sovas Voice Arts Awards for Outstanding Commercial TV and Radio, Best African Voiceover, which is a testament to her skills and dedication to her craft. And Ike, it's great to have you here. And moving on to the next guest. Okay, let's meet Femi. Femi, once again, say hi. Let me be sure that you can hear me and I can hear you too. Okay, Femi Bakes, I think you're trying to connect, so I'll just move on to the next person and come back to you. I've also got Mauli Sachi. I hope I got that correctly. Wow.
So first of all, you'll have to ignore the U. So it's Mauli, as in Mauli.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Mauli, and then Sachi.
Sachi.
So Mauli, Sachi. Yeah, that's it. Sachi, as in Sachi and Sachi.
Sachi.
Does that work?
You know what? If I find it difficult to pronounce your name, I'll just call you Charlie. Because I mean, it's a Ghanaian.
That works for me, bro. That works for me. Let's just do it.
Yeah. So we've got Mauli Sachi, and he's a professional voiceover artist and a brand consultant dedicated to the pursuit of excellence. From the hospitality industry to marketing and advertising, Mauli has had over 15 years of invaluable practical insight, building and managing relationships and achieving results. As a brand consultant, his work has influenced major brands including Vodafone, MTN, Diageo, Samsung, Total, Nestle, and many more. I mean, Mauli is just mind-blowing. I've heard his voiceovers and I'm just like, wow, I need that voice. So nice to have you, Charlie.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And now let me move to Femi Bakes, my G. Femi, how are you doing this evening? Femi, can you hear me? Okay. I'll just read Femi's profile then and hopefully we can hear him. Femi Olugbade, also known as the Sound Baker, is an experienced voice-over coach, audio engineer, audio editor, vocal director, and sound designer. He is the host and producer of the internationally acclaimed podcast Letters to Boys. He's the founder of the Sound Baking Company, an audio production company that promises to bake stories to perfection using various audio engineering techniques. His podcast Letters to Boys was recently recognized by Google and PRX, making him the first and only Nigerian to participate in the 2020-2021 Google Podcast Creators Program. He has a soothing voice perfect for TV commercials, telephone applications, narrations, audiobooks, explainer projects, and with his rich Nigerian accent, his voice is perfect to gently and happily woo customers into purchasing their products. So, Femi, that's his profile, the delectable Femi Bakes. Femi, can you talk to me? I want to be sure that I can hear you as well. It's still a struggle to join, right? I'm sure we're gonna fix it or figure it out very soon. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are our guests. So, guys, you're welcome, and you're welcome. Today, we're talking about the impact of technology on the voiceover industry, and it's not surprised that we're having this conversation right now because we can see since 2020 to 2023, there's been a lot of um, massive evolution of technology, and this is coming closer to home. And when I say closer to home, I'm talking about voice actors. It's directly impacting us one way or the other. Maybe not now, maybe not in the immediate, but the global voiceover industry is beginning to respond to the vibrations, or the effect of AI in our industry. Well, the voiceover industry, of course, is technological, or is technology driven. We have to also say that, because without the ability to record your voice in a microphone, or to use a DAW, or to be able to use production tools, there won't be a voiceover industry. So yes, the voiceover industry is powered by technology, but now it seems like technology is trying to eliminate the human impact, or the human input, particularly the voice, and it is becoming a concern in the industry. So we want to talk about this today, especially how it affects us as Africans, right? And because I have six guests here, I may not be able to take each person individually to discuss it, break it down and all of that. But the growing concern is there. And before we get into the growing concern, I'm sure that one way or the other, a lot of us here have been able to use technology to our advantage. So before we get full on into talking about the other side of it, let's talk about the good side of it. Like, let's talk about how technology has helped the industry so far, right? So, I'm throwing this open to any of our guests. I think I should call somebody's name, right? And Femi, I don't know if you can speak now. If you can speak, I really love to hear your voice. And maybe I'll start with you, Femi Bakes. Okay, still not able to speak. Okay, just requested for the mic. So maybe I'll just move on to Mr. Shobo. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Shobo. You've been in this industry probably longer than most of us here, and you've seen the evolution of technology. So I want to engage you with this. Let's start with this. How do you think technology has been able to help the voice do to us? But let's also talk about how we've been able to use this to our advantage. Mr. Shobo, I'd like to hear you respond to that right now.
Um, Honestly, the truth is, technology was made to, I mean, support evolution of things, and improve things as it may be. So, for the voiceover industry, I mean, seeing right before my eyes, I've seen a lot of evolution. I mean, I remember there was a time you couldn't have a home studios. There was nothing you couldn't, because the gadgets that were used to produce voiceovers were they were massive. The big consoles and the rest of that you used to mix, and the rest of that. To now, everybody is able to mix from their computer screens, and the rest of that. So technology has gone. So it has improved from time to time, and it goes the same for every industry, right? It's not just the voiceover industry, but for every industry. But for the voiceover industry in particular, the
Mm,
evolution has been fantastic. It has helped like I said before, there was a time in just not just even in Africa, but in the voiceover industry globally, where you couldn't even, afford to build a studio at home. But right now, people seal deals, world class deals from inside their house, right? They make it happen from inside their house, just because technology has evolved, right? It has come from a place where it keeps improving from time to time, and of course, where we're going now, which is the AI and metaverse and the rest of that, the Web 3.0. Obviously, I mean, it's going to another place. So what I always say is, as much as possible, let's learn how to always collaborate. I was hearing somewhere, when Photoshop came out, right,
mm,
for the photography industry, a lot of photographers were, they were scared.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Shubo. Let me just say, if you're not speaking, kindly mute your mic. If you're not speaking, Molly, I'd like you to mute your mic so that we can hear the other speaker well. Okay, go on,
Yeah.
Mr. Shubo.
Yes. So when photography, when Photoshop came out, the Adobe Photoshop, a lot of photographers were scared. They were like, "Oh, what is going to go happen? Is this going to take off our jobs and the rest of that?" But what happened now is that everybody has found a way to collaborate, right, with Adobe Photoshop, which now gives them the kind of images they want to I mean they choose to create, right? So the good thing about technology, or what is best as technology evolves, is to find a way. I mean, it's not to be afraid, but to find a way to collaborate with it, to use it to the best of your ability, right? So I think that for me, that's it. That's the great part about technology, because the truth is technology is actually helping us.
Hmm,
It's not supposed to kill us. It's actually supposed to help us, right?
hmm,
And then we are now supposed to discover how it will help us, right? So
hmm,
that's where research comes in. And I mean, a lot of voice people that say they want to do voiceovers nowadays, even with the kind of information that they have on the ground, people are so lazy to research. You discover that people are so lazy to research, to just go on Google and just read about something. It's a problem. So
hmm,
when things happen and they are left behind, it seems like what's going on? I
hmm,
wasn't there. I mean, some of our parents who read secretarial studies could swear
hmm.
on their typewriters. They could swear on their typewriters. When the laptops came out, they were like, no, 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 for what? How will I be using laptop when typewriters are the ish? What do you mean? And then laptops came, iPads came,
Yeah,
typewriters fizzled like water. It just fizzled out, right? And a lot of them
yeah.
lost their jobs just because of that, just simply because
Hmm,
of that, right? Because they weren't willing to evolve. And that's why I'm telling voiceover talents now. And I keep telling them, you know, try as much as possible. As technology is evolving, everything is even evolving, from technology to how you do your job, because in fact, as technology is evolving, everything is evolving. So you have to evolve with it as well, right? Don't just
hmm,
say, I'm comfortable, I'm talented. Talent, technology wipe off your talent, wipe off your talent.
hmm,
So
hmm.
as much as
All right.
possible, evolve. Let me just put it that way. Technology has been
Hmm.
good, and we just have to evolve with it.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Showbo. You just took us through how technology has helped us so far, and you're emphasizing that we should evolve with technology. You also said that we should coexist, or we should find a way to work with technology. But then there are fears that with how much technology is encroaching into our space, into what we do, a lot of people might lose their jobs. So I want to hear, and I'll come back to you, Mr. Shubo. I'll let you speak on this as well. But
Yeah,
for
no problem.
the sake of other speakers, I want to hear their perspective towards this. Let me go to Jamaldin. Jamaldin, Mr. Shubo just talked about how he thinks we can coexist with technology. What's your thoughts on this? Looking at the recent developments in the voiceover industry with the AI coming into our industry and all of that. What's your thought on this?
Well, thank you so much for that question. Mr. Schuber's submission has kind of encapsulated like a whole lot of things. But I mean, if for us to really see through the future, we need to look back and see what has been the impact of technology in the past. And that's going to give us an insight into the future. For every evolution in technology, there's always fear everywhere, whatever. But for every new advancement in technology, um, it also kind of brings more opportunity. So as it is now, uh, there's a lot of people who are afraid of AIs. I'm sure when voiceover became kind of remote, I'm sure a whole lot of studio owners will be feeling like, hey, now nobody's going to pay to come to the studio. But every time technology evolves, it comes with like more opportunities. We don't know where AI is going right now, but I believe as much as we've coexisted with technology in the past, I mean, now it's not going to be strange, because in the past, you have to really walk into the studio. But eventually, we had like a remote ways of recording, the likes of Source Connect and stuff like that. And these things brought even more opportunity into the industry. So I think with the advent of AI, there's a lot of people shouldn't fear. We can coexist, and there's gonna even be more opportunity, and it's even gonna make a whole lot of work easier. Because as it is right now, of course, I've been hearing a lot of top talent, podcasts and a whole lot of discussion talking about, hey, if AI comes, human are always going to be used when it comes to voiceovers. You can't take away human beings. You understand? In the past, there's what we call technological unemployment. When automated systems came into like factories and industries and stuff like that, people were scared that, hey, maybe humans would never uh, be able to, work and get paid. But no, we have automated system in the automobile industry, in the fashion industry, but still there are a whole lot of humans who are working, and they're still earning an income. So I think we shouldn't have any fear. Aside from even coexisting, technology is going to bring much more opportunity that we can tap into. So we shouldn't be lax. We should look at how we can take advantage of it. Because specifically, talk about AI specifically, I don't know which direction AI is going to, but the reality is, as a voiceover artist, you can, if you don't want to like do auditions, you don't want to do physical jobs, and you have your voices with only God knows how many agencies, you can go to sleep, and people are purchasing your voice and you're getting your royalties. So
Hmm.
I totally agree. I mean, in the past, we've coexisted with technology, and now we can still coexist, and we can even have much more opportunities at hand.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you very much, Jamaldin. We just heard Jamaldin also speak about technology in the positive. Just as Mr. Shion Shubo said, we can collaborate, we can coexist rather with technology. But then I know that a lot of people still have many fears about this, about how the collaboration would even happen. Before we get into that, basically, let me hear somebody's um objection, or should I say fears about this. Let me come to NK. Eniola, nice to have you here. And I want to hear if you think we can actually coexist with it. Do you agree with Jamaldine? Do you agree that it's going to bring more opportunities? Do you think we should just, relax and see how this unfolds, and we're safe about the whole thing?
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So yeah, I agree with all that has been said. And with
Hmm.
technological advancements, there would always be massive benefits and rewards, but there would also be drawbacks, right? And I think that's what you're
Yeah.
trying to hear right now.
Hmm.
But I believe that it's going to do more good than evil. I also believe that there should be systems in place, there should be laws in place that prevents people from sort of like doing evil with technology, because I think that's what the fear is, that people, especially when it comes to synthetic voices and voice cloning, people are like, oh, what if they use this against you? You didn't say this, but this is your voice being played here. I think as the technology develops, there will be laws, there will be policies that will guide against this. And basically, I think the AI companies would also be held accountable for, if things are done wrong. But in the long run, we cannot run away from technological advancement. We
Hmm.
cannot fight it. Honestly, if you're fighting it, then you would be left behind. Because we
Hmm.
see that the people who are thriving right now are people who are able to evolve, right? And I think that that's the only
Hmm.
constant thing that we have in life, change. And we must learn to keep evolving, and we must learn to live with technology, coexist with it. We must learn to use it. And I also want to correct the notion about people saying that AI or technology will take their jobs. Not really. It's people who know how to use AI that will be taking their jobs, because AI cannot stand alone. Technology cannot stand alone. Human beings need to operate. It needs human creativity. So it's the people who rise up to it, who are able to work with it and use it, that will take the jobs of those who can't. So
Hmm.
that's the take on that.
Hmm. This is interesting. I was thinking I would hear the opposite of this, but then I think we're all buying into the trend that technology is here to stay and we can take advantage of it or we can work with it, which, I mean, we should be positive, but then the drawbacks, like you said, you mentioned how AI companies should be held accountable, right? From what you said about 2 weeks ago, there were some reports. We had a website, vice.com, that wrote a report about voiceover artists complaining about how some AI platforms are taking advantage of their voice in a manner that was unethical. I also saw an Instagram video of a lady who is an audiobook narrator talking about how she had done this audiobook for a company and she had signed some contract unknown to her. Some of the contracts stipulated that a voice could be used in a way that she doesn't necessarily permit. So I think the company that was handling the audiobook was sold to Spotify, and from there, Spotify has something going with this AI stuff, and she realized that, oh, a voice is going to be used, or I mean, the contract already says that a voice can be used, and this was something she didn't really know. So now she's trying to fight against that. We've had these reports coming in subtly, and voice actors are already revolting about it. In fact, the contract is now the bane of discussion, right? So these are just one of the drawbacks I wanted to highlight, or I thought I should highlight. But let me hear from Mauli. Mauli, you've also been in the industry for quite a while, over 10 years now, and the emergence of AI in our industry, do you really think that we are totally safe? Do you think this voice cloning and all of that, people submitting their voices and just sitting back and relax and having AI companies pay you in quote royalties because your voice is already there in the system? How do you think that's going to really affect our industry practically now? Do you think this is healthy for the craft? Over to you, Mauli.
Well, I was saying, I mean, everybody agrees that technology is an you cannot it's an indispensable adjunct of whatever industry in which you are, and you can't take that away from, how do you call it, the voiceover industry. I look, when I started doing voiceover work as an amateur, the routine was to be invited by the client or an agent to the studio to record. I didn't always like the engineering output or mix, but one had very little control over what happened or what the output was. Now, today, because of technology, you and I are having this conversation. You understand? We have so much control over our environment, our working environment. We're able to do what we're doing now. You understand? This is a huge advantage for everybody involved in what we're doing. So I cannot begrudge AI if it seems, or if it appears to be eating into our pockets. What we can do is learn a bit more about how this thing operates and take advantage of it. Legally, it's a problem because anybody at this nascent point can take your voice, turn it into something else, and copyright it and make it theirs and make money off of you. That is understandable. What we should be thinking about is, from the very get-go, precisely because of hindsight, figure out how to preempt AI and the companies that are using AI to take undue advantage of what we do as artists, and find a way around it. So if we could have a preemptive class action, situation where, we legally place barriers, in front of some of the things that AI companies have thought about. And they're doing this because they know that it's a wild west where we are at the moment. So they're trying to take undue advantage and quickly, how shall I say it, and make profits off of us. It behoves us to do the very opposite and go out there and legally restore to ourselves what is ours. So we need to start investing in and researching how to take back what is ours, basically. So as far as I'm concerned, I cannot possibly have anything against AI. As far as I'm concerned, I think that it's going to actually be a great enabler for all of us in the industry. As soon as we figure out the best way to utilize it and to deploy it, it's going to be in our favor. What we need to do now is to look at the fine details legally and find a way to go around AI companies who are taking undue advantage of our artistry. Yes.
Thank you very much, Maoli. One of the things you've been mentioning is how to legally use this, how to prevent the companies taking undue advantage of what we've got, our talent, right? And
Yes.
that's bringing me to something, a conversation that I would reserve for later, and that's the place of the industry in Africa now. For instance, in the US, we've got vocal variant, and vocal variant is not even union or non-union in terms of their fight for voice actors. Vocal variant is a platform that has to do with concerned voice actors working, with union and non-union performance alike to make sure that we don't lose our voices forever by singing away or signing away rather our rights to various companies. Now we have that going in in America. In UK, we've got Equity, and Equity has been for the longest of times fighting for or defending voice actors and other talents, with in their craft. But in Africa, the industry looks to be still taking shape. So one question I would ask, but maybe not now, because I still want to get reactions to the downside of AI voices. But I just want to drop this thought that will trigger us to think deeply about it, how we're going to take this on. If for instance, we start having legal issues about this, do we think that we have a body that can look out for African voiceover talent? So thank you very much, Maoli. You just triggered that thought that came to mind. Femi Bakes, I don't know if you can talk now. I also have Chiedu Onabu, who is boss, is one of the guests, and I just realized that he's here as well. So Femi Bakes and Chiedu, we've not heard the both of you. Femi, if you can talk, kindly unmute your mic. I'm guessing that you are not able to talk at the moment, so I'll get back to Mr. Shobo. Now, Mr. Shobo, we started this conversation with you, and you were able to say that there are positive sides of AI to the industry. Now let me show you my fears, right? For instance, if we say AI is here to stay, we can't do anything against it, and then we want to cooperate with AI, and then we start submitting our voices to AI companies, and AI companies are able to use our voices to create voiceovers as required from by the clients, and we just relax and have these companies pay us. Do you think, or don't you think, this will affect the craft itself, where people aren't doing the work anymore, and it makes us a bit more lazy or relaxed? And then when the AI companies are populated with enough voices, what is the fate of new talent coming into the industry? These are my concerns personally.
I mean, concerns. There are a lot of downsides as much as there are pros, there are cons to these things, right? When you think about the fact that what exactly is the aim of artificial intelligence, right? It's actually to bring ease. That's what technology does, right? It's to bring ease to whatever you're trying to do. Now, not actually collecting the work from you. For example, there's no way an AI is going to do a radio commercial or a TV commercial that says, "Hey, my people, they don't come again. No, this one." It's not going to happen. It might be close to it. It can get close to it, but it's not going to happen. Why? I'll tell you why. Because human beings do not listen word by word. They listen emotions by emotions. So what we actually sell is emotions, right? We are selling emotions in disguise, right, through words. So when you see people, when you get to the studio and you see somebody, voice acting and trying to get the mess, they are trying to it's trying to get a message across from point A to point B the way the consumer needs to hear it, right? And those are the ways, those are some of the things that AI has not really cracked. And that's because that's what makes humans different from machines, right? And remember that this thing is called artificial intelligence. So it actually takes from you, who is human, and tries to learn it, learn it, learn it, learn it. But as much as it can learn it, it can't learn it as much as you have mastered it, which is where mastery comes in for you as a voiceover talent. Mastery comes in for you as a voiceover talent. One, two, some people are going to fall by the wayside. That's for sure, right? People that are talent centric, right? If you are so um swamped up in your talent, you are rather going to fall by the wayside. I can tell you that for sure. And this is because, in my research, I've discovered that, um this voiceover thing, right, has much more. The majority, the major part of it has to do with business, right, and your brand, right? Because what we are selling is a service, you know, not necessarily your talent. We are selling a service, and the person that best, presents that service best, right, and gives as much as a quality service is the one that probably gets the consumers, right? So as much as possible, I always tell people, if you are just, oh, I'm good. Yeah, you're good. That's fine. That's okay. We love it. We want you to be good, right? But don't get so carried away by that, such that you don't build the business part of it. Because let me tell you, the way we are going now, right? A lot of people are going to fall by the wayside, and people that have brand equity, right? So somebody will say, even in the AI itself, right? Somebody will say, why should I work with this guy? Nobody knows him. Nobody knows, you know, why would I work with, why shouldn't I work with a James Earl Jones? Because he has a brand equity. He has some equity. When I mention his name, it brings some value to my project, right? Why should if your name is mentioned or your brand is mentioned, right? Your voiceover brand is mentioned. Who can stand at attention and say, oh yeah, that guy is going to be very valuable to my project. It's going to be very valuable to my work or my animation project or to my. You get what I'm saying? So as much as possible, right? Um, even when we would, for example, there was a guy that messaged me this week, and he was talking about how a guy spoke to him, and they wanted to get him on an AI platform, and they said he should send about uh 100 hours of his voice or something. Yeah, about 100 hours of his voice, and he was like, he can't. He's a bit skeptical in sending it. Which actually he should be, right. I told him, see, if you're skeptical about it, what you should do is tell them, have an MOU with the person, the person collecting your voice for the AI platform. Have an MOU with them saying that if you hear any commercial, if you hear your voice being commercialized, because obviously putting it on the platform is an opportunity. However, if you hear it commercialized, right, they could be sued, right, or they're going to pay. They're going to have to pay damages for that, you know. And I mean, he was like, yeah, that's actually the way to go, because you have to, right now, as much as possible, you have to embrace all legal services, embrace legal services, know how to read contracts, which is what I'm saying. This thing is business. Is
Yeah.
business. And if you cannot do it, if you are very carried away with your talent, look for partners, right, that are business oriented. They're able to help you and partner with you. If you're not business oriented, forget. This is going to leave you at the back. That's is the blunt truth that nobody wants to hear. But I always say, build your brand equity. How do you build your brand equity? How best are you able to sell your service such that when clients hear you, they see what you've done, they see your service, how you delivered, they see how your content is placed outside. They're able to say, oh,
Yeah.
I want to work with this guy. I want to work with
All
this
right.
guy, and you right. So there's so much to say. The ethical part of it is also there. A lot of people are scared about that, the ethical parts of
Yeah.
AI, and that's a major problem. And that's likely going to be the downfall of AI if it's not
Of
careful.
AI. Okay.
Right? that's likely going to be the downfall, because if you're not able to, if you're using my voice and you're not willing to pay me what is due to
Yeah.
me, right, then you shouldn't have my voice, right? And that's where a lot of people are fighting. The ladies, there was those that the artificial intelligence voice, the female voice on TikTok, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, here's the man. Those voices, at
Yeah.
least two of them, they sued TikTok, right? One of them is in America here. She sued TikTok because of that, because TikTok was using her voice much more than what they said they were going to do. Because what they try to do, even Google, what they try to do is when you take your voice, I'm able to commercialize it anyhow I want to. That's not right, right?
Mm.
That's not right. For every way you want to commercialize it, I must be involved because it's my voice.
Mm.
you know, so that's likely going
Yeah.
to be the downfall, because some people are, and
Mm.
that's because people are the people who are the technologists. The business people at the end of the technologist, right, are the ones being selfish
Yeah.
or greedy, wanting to take everything. So there has to be
Yeah.
some level of creation, but it's not going to make us lazy. We're still going to be working, but it just makes it easier
Mm.
for us.
All
That's
right.
it.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Shubo. I honestly still have some doubts, or because let me give you an example. If now somebody's voice has been um fed into the AI system, and the person's voice can be used to do voiceovers and all of that, so which means that the job that should come to 10 different voice talents, one voice talent can do it without even exactly working, right? Without even coming behind the microphone to work, because the voice is there. So that means that would have lesser jobs if AI comes, because the money has to go somewhere. And if AI is doing most of the job, then the AI companies will be getting their share, and the voice actors whose voice is already there will be getting paid. So that's a concern, but I wish to even engage you more on this, but because I've got a lot of guests here, let's hear from somebody else. Mauli, just hang on a little bit. I have a question for you, back to what we talked about legal stuff and all. But let me hear from Femi Biggs. Femi, you've been hearing this conversation for so long, so I don't want to ask you a direct question. I just want your reaction to this, based on all that you've listened to so far.
Finally, can you hear me?
I can, man. Welcome.
Oh, well, thank you. All right, cool. So, I mean, I've been hearing what everyone has to say, and I quite agree. I mean, technology will always disrupt, however, right? I mean, for good and for bad. With this whole AI thing, I mean, it's already happening, but remember the way we have the way we have Canva, right? The way we have Canva where everybody can just go there, create an account, and create designs using templates, right? So at the point maybe when Canva came out, before Canva, we had a lot of you had to meet a graphic design, or you had to learn Photoshop and all that kind of thing, and CorelDRAW and stuff like that. And Canva came, said you might not necessarily have to go through that length of process, just come on, create a platform or create an account and do your thing, right? So, what I realized is majority of the graphic designers that we have, or that we used to have, that were graphic designers, had to step up. So it's either some of them started doing UI UX alongside their graphics, or some of them knew the graphics so much that they were able to establish their brands and really, really get clients. Right. The truth is, that's what we're going to have. We're already having it, but it's going to be established. A one-stop shop where you can do video, audio, everything, one platform. Just go there and you see people signing up already. Right. That's really what's going to happen. I also feel maybe not in Africa, right? Maybe
I can't hear Femi anymore. Is anybody here?
like
Um,
everybody said, you have to evolve.
okay.
There are people on Fiverr that do voiceovers for, say, $5, $3, and
I think we're losing Femi. I don't know if it's me though, but uh, I don't know. I can't hear Femi anymore. Okay, he's trying to connect. The network is really terrible at his end. Okay, so um Mauli, I'll come back to you. Really, I still want to hear your take on this. I've left Jamaldeen there for so long. So Jamaldeen, I know the things that we've said would have provoked some thoughts in your mind, and you want to share. Looking at the downside of technology now, what do you think? Do you really think this thing is going to be of advantage for to the industry at large? Not speaking as someone who has been in the industry and is making it big. I know you're going to contest that anyway. But for people who are just coming into it, what's the future of the industry for the young talents, right? That haven't even started. Let me hear your thoughts on this, Jawadi.
Oh, well, thank you. The reality is, the population of the world continues to grow. 50 years away, 50 years back, we didn't have this population. And as far as the population is going to continue to grow, the demands for services are also going to continue to grow. And demand for more talents, more voices is also going to continue to grow. And even as it is, I like to use the words the big shack, um, the shacks. I mean, even normally, I mean, AI aside, when you come into the voiceover world, there are a lot of top talents across the world. And talk about Africa, talk about Nigeria. Nigeria has some of the finest voice talents I know. I mean, personally that I know, and they are exceptional. Um, but so basically, coming into the voiceover industry and seeing all these people, you have to compete with these people. You have to audition with them. But then people have been coming into the industry freshly, and they've been having their way. They've been making their mark. You understand? So even with the whole advent of the AI, I mean, I don't think that's going to be, because there's going to be demand for more voices. Really, I don't know where AI is heading to, because it's still the beginning for artificial intelligence. You understand? So I can't predict what's going to happen. But the reality is, when people are calling for auditions, sometimes, I mean, you have pools of voices, 200, 70, 300. And sometimes it goes way beyond that. You understand? So even if these guys are providing voice option for clients, I mean, they need to have like a massive, their roster has to be really massive. You understand? So they can't also just sit back there, because as it is right now, in the past 2 months, I found out the industry, there's high demand for like teen voices, kids voices, like very high demand, and these clients are ready to pay any amount. You understand? They are
Yeah,
ready to pay any
yeah,
amount, and then unfortunately, the vacuum is there. They are not able to fill it.
mm,
Personally, I got messaged by I think maybe went out to most of the African talent by Voice Bunny, Bunny Studio. Currently, I think the part they were Voice Bunny and their Bunny Studios. They were literally like begging, like, hey, if you have family and friends who are young, 5, 7, 8, 9, put them on your profile. We will let you put them. We will let you put them. You can open
mm,
account for them. You can supervise them. There's going to be a live session. You understand? So the demand
yeah,
for services are growing. The
mm,
population is growing. So
yeah,
that's gonna be, even if assuming we are no longer like doing voiceover like the classic regular way, everybody just wants
yeah,
to go into AI. The AI
yeah,
industry would also need more voices. They will need more varieties.
yeah.
So as far as I can see, we don't know what the future is saying. As far as I can see, I think there's opportunity for everybody.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Jamaldeen. Still on the positive note there from Jamaldeen. So, ladies and gentlemen, we would let one or two people respond or ask questions, whatever it is that you want to say. You can request the mic, and I'll let you speak. But before we get into that part of this conversation, I was going to engage Maoli once more when I mentioned that based on what Mauli said, we need to understand the legal side to this. And my fear is that the African voiceover industry hasn't even gathered that strength we don't have that well-built structure that might be able to help us challenge some of these things. So I want to get your response to that. By the way, Chiedu, you've not been able to come up. Kindly accept the mic. You're one of our speakers, so really love to hear your take on this. Go on, Mauli.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. Well, I tend to agree with everybody else on the platform. All these how do you call it thoughts that are being expressed are completely valid. First of all, nobody knows exactly what AI truly is. Nobody knows where it's taking us, and nobody knows where it's going to end. So we'll just have to go along for the ride for now. But with hindsight, we know that it makes more sense to jump on that boat rather than stay back and watch it float away downstream. Would be better, served if we jumped on and worked our way along as it floated down the river, so that we were able to, how do you call it? We're able to maneuver our way and get what's coming to us, rather than just leaving it there and saying that there's nothing much we can do about it and then letting it go haywire. So first of all, that's what I'm going to say. Now, the second thing is, I don't really think that we have any real control at this moment as to what AI wants to do or where it wants to take us. The only sensible thing we can actually do, again, is, because of hindsight, we need to shore ourselves up on the legal side. So I've said this before. We must actively seek and embrace any latest technology, and the latest technology trends and all of that. But we must also be ready to find legal ways of protecting ourselves and our artistry. So you said something about the unions in America and so on and so forth. I'll come back to what's going on in Africa. Now, for the guys in America, they have a solid system where it protects their interests and everything. I believe that AI is going to trigger a protectionist mindset, just like it is at the moment, and they will fight that battle on the global front on our behalf for now. It's going to happen, whether we like it or not, or whether we believe it or not. What we can do is start taking lessons from them as to what they've done currently with their groupings, fighting for the interests of the artists. We should begin to do that now. We do not have a choice. So even though the African terrain may look young and disparate and completely scattered all over the place, I think this is a beautiful moment and a wonderful opportunity for people to step forward and do what is required to protect our interests. Nobody's going to do it for us. If we do not, we're still going to have the opportunities, but what's going to happen is that in the least, we're going to get paid only, marginal amounts of what we're worth. And in the worst case scenario, someone's just going to steal whatever you have and run away with it because you don't have the legal backbone and the background to protect your interests. Okay, so this is my little thought on this.
Thank you so much, Mauli. Fantastic. Mauli's joining us from Ghana, by the way. Great to have you here. For those who are wondering what advantage AI has to offer, we've heard it, many of our speakers talk about it, and I just wanted to chip in that last year I was listening to a podcast, and the CEO of Voice 123, that's Rolf Veldman, was saying that their platform is developing an audition preview system where clients can pre-listen to what you would sound like on their script. And then it informs them if you're the type of voice they want for the script. So this would also help in the auditioning process. However, that might also kind of stifle how much you can express yourself in the audition process. But then let's keep our fingers crossed and see how this goes. Like they said, they're still developing and looking at how they can take advantage of AI in this way. Let me move to one of our speakers who hasn't been able to speak all day because trying to connect. But I've got Chinedu Onabu, also known as Boss Chiedu. Boss, you're very much welcome. I guess I didn't really read your profile, but I don't even have the time to do that right now. But let me have your opinion on all this that we've said so far. Go on, please.
Yeah, hi guys. It's fantastic having guys coming around, speaking about things like this. Happy to see everyone here on Twitter Spaces. Um, I'm a voice actor and graphics artist, and really, I would say I practically agree with everything everyone has said. I was trying to get home so I could settle in and start off with everyone, but if you're in Lagos, you know what traffic is like. So, but I was able to listen to Femi Baker, and he was actually speaking a lot of thoughts that were going through my mind since, like, when I knew this was the topic for discussion. T-Code knows me. I'm vehemently against AI, like practically stealing the jobs, if you know what I mean, in that sense, stealing. So, but I believe everyone has also spoken about how we could collaborate with this and work with it, use it to help the craft. I mean, Sheun Shobo just spoke about, you know, what AI is for, to make the work easy. Eventually, it's just to ease the job. Yes, we know that there are aspects of the craft that could get modeled by AI itself. But the truth is, it all boils down to how well you know your craft and how much of a perfectionist or how masterful you want to be with this thing. Most of the people who are in the tussles or legal tussles right now, it's either out of the clients or the customers trying to be as cunning or trying um, to trick the voice actors into what they don't know they're signing on for. So basically, understanding your craft and the business, just like Shin Shubo said.
Okay, go on,
Can you hear
please.
me? Okay.
Yeah, but
Is it better
make
now?
it as but I really appreciate if you can make it as quick as possible because of time.
Possible. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. So basically, yeah, I was saying I just agree with everyone, and we should understand that voiceovers are not just selling words. You are selling a feeling, an emotion, and the soul of your script. That's something AI cannot do. There's a reason it's called artificial. You understand? So yeah, we need to fortify or to reinforce legal forces, and make sure that we understand what we are doing as voice actors or voiceover artists. It's important we understand that, and that right now, Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, all the countries on the continent need to set up, even if you can't do it as a body, individually, solo artists everywhere. Now you should understand why you have a lawyer or you have a legal side to your business. And make sure you and your lawyer sit down and digest whatever contracts you'd be signing or sales quotes or whatever it is. That's really the safe path for this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to drop that. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you so much, Boz. Time is really going. So I want to hear more of the women speak this time around. Enike has been here for so long, and I saw Komli Simi, who joined us some minutes ago. She's raising her hand and she'd like to speak. So I'd like to hear Komli Misi, rather, who is a listener and now a speaker. So you can maybe ask a question or make your inputs, whatever it is you want to say. You're welcome. And then Enike, you'll be able to speak after that. Comely Missy.
All right, thank you, T-Code.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to add to the discourse. And I understand every angle, every side to the AI or no AI conversation. But what I wanted to say was largely what Chiedu, and there was somebody else who mentioned it. The person was talking about the legal, Mr. Shobo, yeah, the legal, understanding the legal side of your business and all of that. I am a voiceover artist and I am also an artist. Like I'm a visual artist. I paint and I draw. And at the start of 2020, with NFT booming in Nigeria and everybody cashing out of NFT and all of that, there were so many questions around, oh, is AI taking over this? Is AI taking over that? But I've come to realize that we either find a way to work with AI or work with any technological advancement and make it work for us, right? I think last year I started trying to understand the intersection between being a broadcast journalist and how to use technology to advance that course, right? I am in recent times I've been looking more at how I can find an intersection for technology and whatever it is that I do and insert myself in there so that whenever it comes to that I have to say something or do something that has any link with technology, I can boldly say that I have an understanding of what I am doing. Now, there are trial and errors for every development or every advancement ever on this planet. It means that there will be moments where you would not win, there'll be moments where you would win. So I think that we all need to come to, Buzz is vehemently against AI, thinking about it stealing the jobs and all of that. But I would
Yeah.
like to see from the viewpoint that we need to ask ourselves very important questions. How does technology interact with our work? How does it interact? We already use technology. It's only the advanced format now so why are we panicking? How does it
Mm,
interact with our work? And then how do we insert ourselves in that
mm,
intersection in such a way
mm,
that despite the fact that AI would interact with our work, it should also interact with us first? There would always be a downside. There would always be a positive side. Everything on this planet, technology or not, has a downside to it. So you have to figure out how to stay afloat. Then one more thing I would say before I yield the mic is, as Africans, the bulk of our affair surrounding AI is largely because, and I say this with all sense of responsibility, is largely because we are not at the forefront of developing this tech. If we as Nigerians or Africans are at the forefront of developing these things and we're doing it and localizing it to work for what obtains in our environment, we may not panic so much. It will be easy to say, okay, at least we can control it this way, at least we can control it that way. And I'm saying that because this is a conversation I always have. About 2 weeks ago, I was telling someone at work that I see no reason why fintech is just blowing up everywhere when we have the creative industry that needs more tech than ever in these times. Most of these softwares and technological advancements and whatever it is, most of them are developed by white guys and people abroad. So maybe it's time we started having those conversations. Maybe it's time we started having collaborations with the Nigerian or the African tech industry in such a way that we know, okay, this is technology for Africans by Africans. And so we can set the standard for what obtains and what does not obtain. And so finally, I'm just going to say that at the end of the day, it is a question of who knows how to handle their business. Thank you very much. I yield the mic.
Thank you so much. I think Tolu is having network issues. So at this point, I'm just gonna go around. Tolu, if you can still speak, please let me know so I can, let you continue hosting. But I want to go around each of our speakers. I want to thank you for taking our time to be here. Thank you so much for your time. If you could share your parting words concerning this topic. Just one last word for everyone. that would be great. So we can start with Jamal, and then we go to Mr. Sean Shobo, Chiedu, Annie, The Voice, Printer, and Femi Biggs. Thank you so much. Jamal.
All right, thank you. I mean, my parting word. The reality is that AI is here. We don't have a choice. We have to coexist with AI. But, and there are a whole lot of people right now trying to get people's voices, take advantage of people's voices because there's no structures right now. You need to protect, we all need to protect our intellectual property. As a person, I've never given my voice to AI, even when I had serious money involved. It's my voice, and I have never given my voice out to AI. Even before, like before now, when before now we have a lot of talk about AI. Before it got to this stage, I never. And do not let anybody use any kind of money to try to lure you to give your voice. Make sure you get your terms and conditions right. For me, I'm very slow. I'm going to be very slow to AI right now because I'm still waiting for like the right framework. I see voiceovers as something that is global. I don't look at it from a Nigerian or African point of view. And I believe in the universal strategies that's laid out, though there's also layers to it because we have the pay to plays, we have the union guys who are negotiating better deals and better contracts. So my word here is gonna be that you need to be careful. Don't sell out your intellectual property. If you feel you need to take that AI job, get your terms and conditions right. If you don't know what the terms and conditions are all about, look out, go ask for people, go to people who have experience so that you don't, because it's your voice. If you give out your voice to somebody who's gonna go misuse it, they're gonna use it for life. It's your voice. It's as if your voice has been harvested. And I mean they could do whatever they want to do with it. So as you give out your voice to that AI company, get your terms and conditions, get the legal all the legal things surrounding it, get them right. Thank you, guys. It's great to be here.
Thank you so much, Jamal. Mr. Sean, let's hear from you.
All right. Thank you very much. I would say that as much as possible, as a voiceover talent, you are, you know, right now we're in the what I've termed the creator economy, right? And this industry is the way it's going forward is there are different advancements or creations that are going to only work with creators. Those are the voiceover talents who have decided to be creators, right? And if you are not one of those people, if you are one of those people who is really swamped up in your talent, right? This might leave you behind. Technology might leave you behind. So, as much as possible, embrace it, right? As much as you embrace it, also make sure that you've mastered your art so well, right? And you're also creating such that AI also can meet you where you are, right? And say, oh, I'm interested in what you're doing, and I want to collaborate with you, such that you get to a point where you are now the topic for negotiation, not AI, but you being the topic for negotiation. So as much as possible, embrace creativity, embrace technology, and know how to bring them together. Know how to bring them together. Don't obviously, like Jamaldeen said, ethics, legal, and that is all built up in mastery. All mastering what your art is all about. The legal parts, the accounting parts, the technological parts. Everything, right? It all comes together, right? When you understand that you are actually providing a service via your voice. And again, I'll put it to you again that human beings do not listen word by word; they listen emotions by emotion. So there will always be the parts of for the human voices, and there will always be the parts for AI voices. So as much as possible, let's learn to collaborate and let's keep doing our work. Let's keep mastering and let's keep getting better. That's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You've spoken like the brand master. We know creativity and mastery. Chiejo would like to hear from you. I know you've not been around for long, but yes, we'll definitely want to hear your final or parting words for today.
All right. So basically, I would I just say, based on my stance, because what if there's anything, be it voiceovers or whatever it is for creatives, because I have always been at that the position of clients wanting to take advantage, and it's one of the things I detest. I'm very choosy with those words, detest. So yes, AI has come to stay. And the truth is, people would always go for cheaper options and do their best to maximize, based on cost and all. So, but from me, I'd say yes, embrace AI, but master your craft and its business, and then arm yourself legally. That's all I've got to say. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I'm seeing some names here. Really would like to apologize that we didn't allow, not that we did not allow, but time hasn't been on our side. Would have loved to hear from everyone. So while we are taking final statement from our speakers, we could also allow members, listeners to share final, just one thought in less than a minute, what they think of this topic, or what you will do going forward, bearing in mind that AI is here to stay. So I think the next person here is Annie, the lovely Annie. Let's hear from you, your parting words.
Thank you very much. This has been a very lovely conversation. And I think it's all been said. But I heard someone say while I was preparing for this that AI is supporting creators to work faster. And it said that AI is creating from what is already existing, but AI cannot advance beyond our creativity. So it's important that we always bring our creativity to the fore because AI cannot advance beyond that. And finally, I would just say that we ought to be vigilant and thorough as voiceover talents and as creatives generally. So this, whilst we wait for lawmakers and policymakers to put in laws that protect us as creators and creatives, we must also be careful. This is not the time to blindly click I agree to terms and conditions that you see on apps or websites that are asking you to test out things. This is not the time to just click on allow. This is not the time to sign contracts without reading it or getting, someone to, like a legal person, to look through it. So I'll just urge us to be very careful so that we're not taken advantage of. And yeah, so I wish everyone all the very best as we embrace AI. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Annie. The creative creator, just before we hear from the voice printer, do you have a parting statement? Come, let me see.
Hi, not so much. Just that whatever it is that comes our way, we should first think about how it would impact our work and how we can insert ourselves in the middle so that we're not caught unawares and we're not unprepared for whatever is coming. That would be all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Over to you, the voice printer. Maoli, can you hear me? Okay, the sound baker, Femi Bakes, if you can hear me, you can unmute yourself and share your parting word. Okay. All right then. So while we await our last two speakers, let me use this opportunity to invite us all to check out our website, www.apva.africa. Okay, I think someone is connecting right
But
now.
most importantly, as most of the speakers here have emphasized, we must be willing.
Okay, all right then. So I feel like we still have this whole network issue going on. Please check out APVA Africa for this podcast. This space actually will be available as a podcast and on our YouTube channel. Thank you all so much. Femi Bakes, if you're still here, you can still share your final words. The voice printer, I think you're having technical issues, but I have like 1 minute left before we say our final byes, and then we can all go about our activities and have a wonderful weekend. So, can you hear me?
Okay, can we? Okay, Hello?
Hi, I
I
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you. Yes, okay. So I was saying that we have to actively seek and embrace the latest tech trends. There's not much we can do about that. We have to get acquainted with their possibilities, and we have to figure out how they can be utilized as a game-changing variable in our output and delivery. But more importantly, we must all be willing to fortify ourselves legally. If we have to go back to law school, we need to do it in order to protect ourselves and our professional interests. Thank you.
Okay. I don't know if it's just me, but you seem to be breaking. But thank you so much for sharing as well. Femi, would you like to share your thought? I think you're
Yeah,
the
can
only
you hear me?
person left. Awesome. Yes, I can.
Right. So yeah, real quick, man. AI is here to stay. It's either we adapt or we get lost in the wind. I think everybody or voiceover talent should, like Mr. Shibo said, become content creators. Start showing your face more in your content, right? Because that's what it is. And there's nothing we can do about it. I guess we just have to deal with that fact that, I mean, we're in that era. So yeah, including everything everybody said.
Okay, I'm back, guys. Thank you very much, Femi Bakes. Bidemi, thank you so much for holding forth for me. And it was lovely to hear your voice in the mix of voice actors as well. So, we've had all of our speakers give their parting words, and I'm sure we've learned a lot from all that has been said today. Some of the takeouts from what has been said includes that we should learn how we can work alongside AI. And we also need to fortify ourselves legally. We need to look at contracts carefully before signing them. And yeah, that really sums it up. The last thing I would say before leaving here is that this also brings up the importance of research. So it's a challenge to everyone here. I'm challenging us directly. Do what you can to learn more about the space, learn about AI, learn about the contract, do your research, and that way you know better. Well, it's been an interesting space. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all for joining. Thanks to the speakers for accepting to be speakers here. And we hope that another time we can have you, contribute as speakers on other topics that we'll be bringing up on board. This is Hangouts with APVA, and it's a platform, it's a webinar that is organized by the Association of African Podcasters and Voice Actors. My name is T Code, and I am the creative partner for APVA, also the host of this event tonight. Next time, we'll be briefing you again on the next events that we're going to be doing, the topics for the next Hangout with APVA. Till then, we say keep learning more about the voiceover industry, keep applying yourself to the craft, and get better. All right. So, this is where we'll call it a wrap on the show or on the events. Right. Why am I using the wrong words? I'm so used to the broadcast space. On the webinar for today. By the way, I have a podcast for voiceovers. It's called Everything Voiceovers, the African Perspective Podcast. You can listen to it for more information about the African voiceover industry. All right, guys. So I'm signing out officially, and I'm saying bye-bye. We can leave now, or you can unmute your mic until we cut the call. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you for listening to the episode. Become a member of APVA today. Visit apva.africa to learn more.